Okay, so today is going to be the first day of having moved on from that little hunter section we did, and I've been going through like all these different classes and rehashing some of my old gimmick decks and trying to combine them with some newer cards and things like that. But basically, I will admit some of them have been a little disappointing because either of how short some of these sessions are, or like all I was trying to do was use Rexar a lot because I love the zombies mechanic, or a couple other things, but I barely even get to use it over the course of those games. Either I'll just win or lose without getting to the point where I can do that, or I don't know, like something else will happen that makes it kind of less satisfying. So here we're going to start. I've already decided what class we're going to do, but I don't know exactly what deck I'm going to do. I'm going to do Druids, which should be one of my favorite classes in this game if you think about it, especially in the context of Magic, right? So we just want to recap. We started off, we did Warlocks for Renounced Darkness and some other stuff. Then we did Warriors for Explorer and Goros and Azari. So you can see the kind of gimmicky fun things I'm looking for that obviously aren't going to be that good. We also started even before that doing the underplayed class round robin, where I played a little bit of priest, a little bit of rogue. So they're underplayed even in the context of what I'm doing here by going through every class in some sort of a half-ass way. So we'll leave Demon Hunter and Death Knight for some other time. We'll do Druid. Druid and Shaman are kind of the next two I want to do. We obviously did Hunter. The Mage and Paladin we can save for some point. I'll obviously want to do the Exodia Paladin at some point here. But we also have the chance to show off the cosmetic, which is sort of part of the reason why I did the Hunter one, because I wanted to show off the Sylvanas, the 3D Sylvanas that we got. And it was kind of unfortunate because I kept waiting throughout the first couple episodes, like, oh, I don't want to use it too much, the emotes and stuff. I don't want to show them off and force them. And then by the end of it, even the last episode, I didn't get a chance to really hear them or really appreciate them, I guess, the way I should. We had both the 3D Sylvanas one and some old one that was like, I don't know, that's more like the Banshee one versus the one that's the one before she becomes a Banshee.
Look up and weep as you call my name.
He sounds a little too snarky or a little too expressive there. He's supposed to have that really low timbre voice, like almost like he's whisper, almost like I used to sound, like a whispery, almost like he's struggling to talk in a way, partly because of his weakened state, but also partly because of his creepy state. That voice didn't match him at all. The old guy, and why he would be considered a druid is beyond me. Oh, what? Because he has to do with bugs and stuff? Like, that's fucking stupid. Like, the same way that Sargeras is a warlock. This music is actually really good, though. The old god of Matt. So I have both Cthulhu and N'Zoth. I finally got N'Zoth as the warlock one. Yeah, I love how that happens. Like, we have like a cool cosmetic to look forward to for each of these. Like, oh, I only played warlock for that first section because I wanted to use N'Zoth. Like, that's not really why, but yeah, this is kind of a cool one, although I guess I've been a bit of a sucker for the 3D ones. That is actually badass, though. I mean, this has got to be one of the coolest ones, just that it focuses in on the eye of all things.
Look up and weep as you call my name.
This voice is trash, though. This is like what they did to the Malagos one, where like Malagos in this game, Malagos in WoW has a sophisticated sort of liquid snake as the voice actor from Metal Gear Solid. Not that I even know who that is, or I've never played the Metal Gear Solid series, but he has more like a sophisticated kind of almost condescending voice to him, elegant and intelligent, whereas here it's just more crazed and over the top. So here too, this guy sounds like he's trying too hard, whereas Cthulhu in the games themselves, unless maybe they re-released Cthulhu later and he sounded like that in some other retcon bullshit expansion that actually Cthulhu was supposed to have officially died in the lore in vanilla. Like, you don't just weaken him or push him back, you actually were supposed to have killed him. Like this unknown group of adventurers plus whoever's there with you, like Sarfang or whatever, whoever the major NPCs are. I think it was supposed to be in lore that you actually just kill Cthulhu, which seems kind of crazy for vanilla, but that actually makes that a bigger achievement. You kill an old god than killing fucking Kel'Thuzad, who doesn't seem as, like he's still a big deal, but That's how you know, do real world building and lore building. Imagine how that builds up the Lich King. The whole vanilla expansion, you're working towards everything you go through. You beat Nefarian, you beat Onyxia, you beat all these fucking dungeons and raids. You do it all just to take down Kel'Thuzad. Not to take down the Lich King, not to take down, you know, one of the big names of the universe. Literally to take down the Lich King's right hand, Kel'Thuzad, and you have to wait another 2 expansions to finally get a crack at the Witch King. So it's like, it's still epic in its own right, but it builds up the Witch King that much more that, like, oh, just his right hand alone is enough to cause you all this kind of trouble, and to, you know, it builds him up into a whole nother thing. Which is really the shame of why we never got Warcraft 4, because that's the kind of thing it could contribute to. And it's amazing how not only does not having Warcraft 4 suck in its own right, like, it ruins the Warcraft series, because instead we have to, the RTS series, because we have to settle for Reforged or some shit like that. But it also arguably ruined WoW, because remember, WoW borrowed heavily from the first 3 Warcrafts, especially Warcraft 3. The whole Arthas storyline was set up there. You know, basically the first 3 expansions were set up there. Kel'Thuzad being left behind in the Eastern Kingdoms, you know, to watch over the whole conquest of Arthas there. The fact that Arthas went to Northrend, the fact that Illidan's an Outland, all these things, all these characters were set up so perfectly. They had it on a silver platter. In other words, WoW, as amazing as it was, would not have been nearly that good without that basis to sort of, you know, jump off of for everything. So it's partly to its credit that it was able to tavern bundle, whatever. I don't care about all this. Yeah, we'll do, so basically my gimmick theme deck for druids would be very much in the vein of an AoE buff deck. We would do all the elusive evasive ones, which I've been craving to do actually, because that's one of my favorite mechanics ever in card game history, but I haven't used them much over the course of this whole experience. And so the point is that you'll put yourself in a position where you do all the elusive evasive ones that you can, not the least of which is like Tyrantus, which is a very satisfying, fun one to do, which exemplifies my whole desire to play, like, you know, big, well-statted minions, like my whole Kaiba Jr. syndrome. Like, I'm going to summon my Blue Eyes White Dragon. Not that I played like that in Yu-Gi-Oh! Necessarily, but, and I'm going to force you to deal with it, except it's not like in the anime where, oh, nobody has any removal, or they have to do it in some kind of clunky way. It'll be more like they'll just do it whatever, like in real life, oh, they'll just use hammer shot, they'll just use smash and ground. Like, it'll be very anticlimactic how they get rid of it. So these were the druid packs, I assume, that came with Cthulhu, maybe, because we had the same thing come from Mal'Ganis, had like the warlock packs, and they gave me Sargeras even. That was another excuse to play as Warlock, to try out Sargeras, but I don't think I ever got to actually play him. I literally got to become him before I got to play him. Think about that. Like, I got from rank 1 to 50, and I unlocked this Sargeras avatar before, even while having avatar Sargeras in my deck the whole time, never actually being able to play him for whatever reason. It's so weird how that always happens. Oh yeah, I forgot about this whole thing. This just give me plenty of dust to work with to make whatever shit I want. Yeah, we'll put sort of maybe a little emphasis on the, we'll do like a little RP, like, oh, we're taking a dark path down the forest, and we hear this whispery voice like of Cthulhu, because we are Cthulhu obviously in that, and we're sort of going down a dark path and doing the evil side of nature. But really what we want to do is the elusive evasive shit, just with respect to
Look up. It is true.
You want to do elusive, evasive, and give those AoE buffs. So think about the sort of the inception of why I even did that deck in the first place. It's because druids had these AoE buffs that no other class really had, or they had so many of them. Like, I don't know if I even still have them here. They had like, okay, first of all, we have to do wild. Give your beast +1/+1. Okay, that's not substantial enough. But there were some very high cost, very low efficiency cards like this. Jungle Giants I kind of mentioned that I want to do too, but maybe I'll save that for next time. I don't really feel like sitting here and thinking around. I almost said I might not play that much this time, but actually I'd rather do that. I'll just, yeah, see, Embiggen. And there was some interesting thing I did with this with like Keliseth. I can't remember what it was. They cost 1 more, and so what happens then? I guess you just have to make sure that you have Keliseth in your hand first, and then you do this. But then again, even if you don't get it, there's nothing you can do. Like, or wasn't there something that said, oh, you know what it does? It allows you to start your deck with 2 cost cards in there, because then they'll become 3 cost. So then Keliseth works, or something like that. I don't remember, but this is gonna be lame though, because I don't have enough dust for this shit, dude. Yeah, Embiggen was a big part of it. And obviously this plays into like Lord Thamar and stuff too. Let me just see which other ones there actually are though. You have all minions in your hand plus, okay, it's got to be something a little more substantial than that. There's some that give you like high amounts of health that don't give you much damage, which is actually fine too. Because think about what you're doing. You're summoning, my whole deck is going to be elusive, evasive minions, which means they can't be targeted by spells or hero powers by either me or my opponent. So then you're rubbing it in their face like, oh, haha, you can't target my shit except with an AoE or whatever. And I can buff mine despite not being able to target it with all these AoE buffs. I'm kind of rubbing it in their face, and so it's really forcing you to, wow, instead of having to deal with like a 6/6 elusive, now you have to deal with like a 9/9, which makes it that much more difficult. The problem with this is it was never good in the first place, even back then when I used to do it many years back. But a lot of these same things are going to be upended. Like, on one hand, you could look at it like, well, it's a lot easier to do this sort of thing now because there's like just better cards that are going to make it even more busted. But on the flip side, it makes it feel even more frivolous because you're kind of going out of your way when it's just not even worth it. Jungle Giants is going to be necessary, but like I said, I'll probably save it. Gain 4 attack. Okay, I don't care about that. Yeah, see, even like this. This is important because it's just so easy to do. So you're going to AoE buff yourself. It's a very inefficient deck. Right? It's very, very bad. And I had like a lot of legendaries and shit with these other classes. I didn't even have a druid deck on here. But yeah, I'll always think of that as a weird analogy between this and Magic the Gathering. Green has more in common with druids than any other class, between the ramp of the mana and stuff like that, and even the big high cost minions and just like the mid-range style of that. And yet I didn't like druids in this game much at all. I didn't dislike them, but they were just kind of not, it doesn't represent what green is about in Magic. See, you go into Magic for the first time and it's like, wow, there's a 5 mana 10/10, and there's Galta, who's like a 2 mana 12/12 if you do it the right way with the Ram, and all these mana generating minions and all this kind of stuff. This game does not represent that at all. There's nothing like that, even like mana generating minions in the same way. There's very little in the way of ramp that way. Like Wild Growth is kind of dumb. Give a minion plus 2 health or summon a 2/2 trance. Summon a minion from your deck and in 4 turns. Okay, don't care about that. The goal is not for this to be good. And they haven't added too many elusive, evasive minions over the course of like the recent expansions or anything, right? There's nothing super exciting that way. I really thought they would add some with the Death Knight one, just because Death Knights have that whole anti-magic shell vibe, and it just feels fitting. Or like Spectral Knight is one of the classic old school ones, like from the Nax expansion, where that one would be like, it would be very fitting for that to be a class that would focus on it a little bit, but they didn't even get a single one. Let's see. It's going to be very singular with respect to, I'm just trying to remember which ones I even had. Yeah, 2 costs more, doesn't matter. Can't really even use that, unfortunately. There was something else I put in here that, oh, like Lothab, right? Basically, you're trying to prevent them from using spells as much as possible. So whether it be in that form or the form of just simply being immune to them in the first place. Yeah, there could be ways to make this maybe a little better now, obviously with some of the power creep newer cards and stuff, but it's just not even worth it in a way. Because again, you're still going super far out of your way to to have these minions in the first place, which are not very good or not very good value. They need like a Galakrond 2.0 expansion, because for whatever reason that had a ton of elusive minions in there. Normally I call it one or the other, but I keep saying both of them now. Rake, nothing here is like that. What the fuck is going on? Or I'm not looking for those even as much here. I'm looking for or recently modified. I was looking for all the buff ones and I can't find anything. The stuff that says AoE buff. Shuffle some prime things, some bees. Yeah, like this is one that I used. Oh, fuck off. Now I'll have to go disenchant some stuff. We just got a legendary, but it was a druid legendary, so I guess I don't know what to do about it. Well, there's certain classes I know I'm just not going to use, so I guess I could... We were using both Demon Hunter and... Yeah, look at how I felt about the underplayed class round robin, even though Death Knight's kind of stuck in there as one of my most played classes, even in a short period of time. Or at least middle of the road, considering how new it is, but... Clown, Fiesta, Clown Time. But yeah, those were two of my least played classes. What was the other one I said? Oh, I skipped Rogue, though, didn't I? I even thought I did Rogue, but I did Demon Hunter instead of Rogue. So, talk about underplayed, more like not played at all, because I just fucked it over. So we'll try to get rid of some of these. I can't believe how much dust I go through back and forth by doing this shit, though. Oh, there's gonna be a lot that's just... Oh, you know what it is? Fuck. This is where I get confused, because, yeah, nice way to make it sort of a synergy between two classes, because you can barely tell the difference. Like, obviously this one mentions demon, so you would think it might have to do with that. But here it's like, they're both green, so you can barely tell. It's kind of annoying. This is... Custom Hunter, but I don't even have a Hunter deck. Or I guess I did, but we've already been through that with Hunters. Let's see. Mage is going to be one of the few classes remaining, right? We'll have to do... We'll save, like, Death Knight, Demon Hunter, and Rogue, let's say, for the end. Whatever. Right? So the more immediate ones would be, like, Druid, then Shaman, then Paladin, then Mage. Something like that. Mage, of course, my favorite and main class in WoW itself, but not nearly as likable in this game. I never disliked them, but they were kind of like druids, right? Like middle of the pack. They're good. I like them, but they weren't my favorite. Warlocks and warriors definitely were two of my favorites. It's amazing how much I actually liked warriors, considering that they're often kind of a little bit stale if you really look at it. Like... Especially in Arena, they were notoriously garbage most of the time. I'm sure people will point to either recent meta to say, oh no, that's not true, or just like some notable times where they were really good. But overall, I think they were pretty bad. Yeah, these hybrid ones can be a little bit confusing because I'll delete them without even knowing. Yeah, today's mostly just trying to get this thing set up. And we'll look at Cthulhu as we take a walk down a dark path into sort of the decrepit side of nature. Fuck. Didn't mean to do that. Yeah, we kind of fucked over. Or actually, I'll save that. And I should probably save Rogue too. And I should probably save Shaman too. I don't know if I have really a sexy Shaman one to show off. I don't think I do. Most of these should be able to go. Let's see what else we have actually in here. So we were at like the third one. There were just a couple more, but I really can't remember what they are right now. We just did the one that was like 3 costs, I think. And there's some really shitty ones that are like... Oh, I went back to standard. That's so annoying. You know, it'll give you like +1, +4, so it's giving you like 4 health, as if that really makes it worth it or something. Or even Savage Roar is pretty good to have in here. Okay, we got the Twin Spell one, because that's very... That's very pertinent, even though, again, it's not very good value at all. Nor was it arguably even at the time. As long as we find one that's either going to be elusive itself, which, oh yeah, see, adapt is amazing. That's really fun, because then you have 4 fucking elusive ones that they can't get rid of, and you give them all like Wind Fury or Divine Shield, which makes them even more of a threat or even more annoying to get rid of. That's not really going to be too useful here. That's 3 turns. Yeah, this is where almost the twist mode could come in handy, because I always say, like, I want to play then in an older format where something as gimmicky and bad as this would actually be not quite as bad. Like, finally a format where I can get Legend with a Renounced Darkness, because give your other minions +1/+1 if you cast a nature spell while holding this. Now that could be, I think most of the spells we're looking at would be, I'm not going to place a big emphasis on that because it doesn't really fit into what I'm trying to do, but Discover, Druid, Rogue, Shaman card, don't really care. Destroy a minion. After you play a minion that costs 2, summon a copy of it. Choose 1, don't really care. 2/2/2 Trance, Ancients, that's kind of a recent card, I think. Deal 4, gain +4. Give beasts in your deck +1/+1. They're not all going to be beasts though, so I can't really rely on that. Yeah, this is harder to find than I thought. Like, where I had a whole emphasis with this one somehow too. I would make a copy of it and then you would keep flipping it back. Like the one that gives you Splinter Graft or somebody, he like gives you a 10/10 copy of it. So then if they can't silence it, you keep getting a 10/10 back over and over. It's like a better version of Malorn or something, especially when you get to top deck mode. Damn, there's so many cool ideas, but I don't have enough dust for them. That's actually lame. How much gold do I have on here? Well, I better finish getting these stupid buffs. Let's at least get this vague outline of what I'm trying to do here. I really wish like you get to a point where it's like you played the game for 10 years long enough. You should just have infinite dust in just like every card in the game, so you shouldn't have to worry about it. But I always shrink my collection stupidly by, you know, by just doing this over and over whenever I feel like making something. 7, 8, 9, 10. I mean, that could be good for a certain perspective if we have some in here. Cthulhu, one of the most boring insular synergies in any card game ever, just because it's too specific. Like, everything just depends on him too much. You know what we're even missing is that stupid 2-cost one that gives +1/+1 to everything. Poison Seeds is kind of fun, but I don't know if you probably wouldn't need it just for the sake of you're going to be at a disadvantage. Yeah, see, this is what I mean. +1/+3, which is a garbage card. That's trash. Like, why would anybody ever want to use that? But this is exactly what it's about. Summon 3 5/5s 2 times or 8, whatever. Transform, deal 5. Or what you would almost like is to have ones that give you good effects. Or I might have to have like this dude plus the stupid scarab thing, just so that you're able to actually survive in situations. But let's try to do it a little more raw for now, and we can always try to do that later. That is actually interesting to think about. As much as I like the whole idea of doing this with the evasive minions, druids actually don't have as many as you would think. Like, the only one I can think of off the top of my head is Tyrantus. A lot of the other ones are going to have to be neutrals that we get. Gain armor, get the trance, cost 0 if you cast a spell. How can there not be like a single one? I don't know what class you would associate that mechanic with the most. Maybe mages in a way, because they have counterspell and they are to do with magic. Maybe rogues even, because they're trying to avoid getting hit by magic somehow. I mean, like, every class has at least like one of them, but like for Hunter, the only one I can think of is the stupid ass. It's this stupid ass bear shark thing. And I'm not seeing anything. Pre-answer for deck has only odd cards. Summon a Glowfly. Yeah, we had this thing with Kaliseth in there too, which would allow me to basically, you know, you would have a bunch of 2-cost cards in there, but then you would play Kaliseth, you would play Embiggen, and then you could play Kaliseth, so you could get the best of both worlds, I think, is at least how it would work. Give a minion Death Rattle, summon him back. After you play a minion, summon a copy of it. Jade Golem, not doing the Jade thing. Yeah, speaking of another unfun synergy. Stupid ass Jade thing, very insular. Use a minion, add a copy of your deck to the battlefield. Draw 2 cards, summon a 3. That's like a worse version of, you know, a quality Consecrate that I always used to do. Would be like Poison Seeds plus this or something. You know, it's not that efficient, but it might have been the best you could do for a lot of the time. Goff I never really got a chance to use. And even when he was all hyped up, he got nerfed before I even had him. So even if I would have played him, it wouldn't have been that good. I mean, 2 2/7s, 3 empty mana crystals. Give a minion +5/+5. It's got to be more than 1, though, that it's giving it to. That wouldn't even work. Refresh mana crystals. Summon a 6/6 ancient. Nature spells cost 2 less. Damn, they just don't have anything. And there's some really expensive ones too here that start to become stupid. Like, there are still more buffs, believe it or not. It is definitely something that you get where it's Druids are a class that play into this idea a lot, but this exact application of it is probably something nobody's ever done. Not because, oh, it's such a great novel idea, but because it's so shitty and there's no real benefit to it. Like, yes, they're hard to get rid of, or they would have been, but it's not that big of a deal, especially now. Summon a copy of each adjacent minion. Now, that's actually really good because that could be fun where, you know, you already have, yeah, you have like a 20/20 so got the Slitherer and this and that. After your hero attacks and kills a minion, may attack again. For the rest of your game, your treants have +1/+1. Summon 2 beasts that cost 5 or less. Give them rush. For each spell you cast this game, summon a minion of that spell's cost. Which, I guess that would be good because these are mostly going to be high cost spells too. Now, Fury you almost need as an obligatory thing. Man, this is kind of lame though, my Dust Starvation here. Malorn and the other, there's so many things. Like, this is kind of necessary because what it ends up doing is it's the only kind of card draw you're going to have, and it's also going to heal all your minions in the same AoE kind of way that you'd think about. So nature spell, summon a 3/3. That's 1 less for each spell you cast this game. I guess I just kept that for the, because it's gold anyway if I was going to use that, but I'm probably not going to. Okay, this one is very good. I kind of forgot about this. Just a better version of one of the neutral ones, or like the 7/7 Draconid, right? It's like a slightly alternate stat value to it. Give your minions +2/+2. Yeah, see, this is kind of, oh shit, that's expensive though. And yeah, see, speaking of playing into the old god thing, it sort of feels like an old god-ish mechanic. Not that it's really specific to them, but next 3 minions cost armor instead of mana. Even this, I mean, give your other minions +2/+2. Like, which would you rather do? A 7 cost card to do that, or a fucking 8 cost card that's also a 5/8? Even being older, right? It manages to still hold up pretty well against that shit value. Give your minions +2/+2. And again, this is not good, but not meant to be used like that. 7 copies of all other friendly minions. This is also another one. It's not even a high rarity card just to show how shitty it is. Give your minions +2/+2 and taunt. Wow, that'd be a great card for like 4, even years ago. Or, oh wait, it's fucking 8. So stupid. And there's like another one too, I think. Deck has no duplicates. Purified Dragon Nest. Cast when drawn. Splinter Grasp is the one I was talking about. Summon 5 Trance. Don't really care about that. Rush Steel. Rush Lifesteal Taunt. Summon the taunt minions that die this game. Tree of Life almost has a certain amount of value to it in the same AoE sort of the AoE heal effect that we're looking at. He has 8 random druid spells, Titan, 5/5 Ancient with Taunt. I would use him as well, so you could do some kind of combo with it. This is kind of good. Hand deck and battlefield. Wow, it's almost as good as Lord Thamar. Like, what the fuck? Look at how Lord Thamar shames this card. For 10 mana, you're getting no board presence. You get +4/+4 to minions in hands, deck, and battlefield. Lord Thamar is a 7 mana 7/7 minion, and it gives you a guaranteed more than +4/+4 because it's going to double everything. Like, look how shit this card becomes because of that. That's not an example of power creep. That's like disgusting. Just making it so obsolete. It doesn't even make any sense to have those two cards in the same game at any point, no matter how old or shitty this might be. But I'd rather get +4/+4. And you might say, oh, well, hand, deck, and battlefield, but still, like, that's a small concession. Obviously, this guy, who they did buff actually a little bit. In fact, a lot. They gave him taunt and +2/+2 to even show you how shitty he must have been by the increasing power creep standard. So you have to at least have him in there, and you also have to have the a lot of the neutral, evasive sort of things too. Hang on. This is a downside maybe of me like not playing stuff off stream. This is sort of the thing I should probably have done off stream to decide what I want to use. I guess except for chess, sometimes I'll play that off stream, or even there I like to record it somehow. It's not even like, oh, I'm doing it because I want content or this or that. It's just more like a principle, right? If I'm gonna do it and I enjoy doing this sort of thing anyway, right, I may as well basically combine the two. Let's see how much gold I have. 475. This is kind of fucking stupid, actually. I'm not gonna have enough for any of this. You need at least Tyrantus. I might have to destroy all my other shit too now. Like, I might have to... Whatever, let's do it. Maybe we'll get a golden legendary. I have to make Tyrantus, and I have to make a couple of the buff cards, and I also have to make the other elusive ones. So I might just have to disenchant all the other classes too. I guess I don't care. I'm not going to use them anyway. Oh shit, we ask and we receive. But sadly, that's not going to be nearly enough because we need more than that. I think that'll be enough just for the one dude. Let's just go maybe by rarity because I'm too lazy to do anything else. Weird. You would have thought I would have had at least one of them that way. Argus the Emerald Star. So this is the boss of whatever. Antorus the Burning Throne, which of course I wouldn't know that because I haven't played that expansion. But somehow I just know these things through some vicarious way. Like even, not that I really even watch anybody. You, me, what? Minions to the left and right of this have rush and ones that... Wait, but why is he a demon hunter? What the fuck? What does he have to do with being a demon hunter? Oh, because maybe in a literal sense he was a demon, like he hunted demons because he used to be a good guy or something. I don't know. But then he's corrupted like everything is, and that's not even what demon hunter means in this universe either. It's like the Steno chick clown fiesta shows you how much regard I had for some of these. I guess this is the only way to do it because he just says you. What about me? Yeah, I won't do anything there. Golden legendaries. What was this? Cards didn't start in your deck cost 4 less, but not less than 1. Yeah, that's what he's pretty good. We have like almost 3,000 dust, which sadly again is not really all that useful to me. This guy's such a cancer card. The new Shutterwalk, let's say, kind of. Just the kind of crazy combos that people do with them. Okay, now can I finally please do what the other ones were? And I keep forgetting what they even are. I'll have to go through the whole buff shit again. I think the only one that I'm really missing is the really high cost ones. Let me double check. I saw one there, but I think I already have it. And again, they're all kind of not very good value. But somewhere around here, I would like to do Malfurion as well, but I don't think I'll be able to. The original Death Knight hero cards are actually pretty fun for all intents and purposes, especially, again, like Rexar, Jaina could be pretty good too. Jaina was just like really good value, period. Like, those were such game-changing cards, but they were busted in the sense that, you know, whoever would get them first or something would determine too much the outcome of the game, so that sometimes made it feel a little bit unfair or unfun because it's just kind of contrived a little bit. I feel like there's one other buff that I was missing here. It's 8 random spells. We have enough with the of the Oxtron shit that we've done lately. I swear there was one other one, or like even this. We can make a second one, not that it's good value at all. And then where was the other one? This one is kind of a worse version of that. And all this sort of Treant synergy is not exactly good. One thing that I find funny about doing YouTube is that I'll do all these joke titles like I always used to do, or references and stuff, and people will take them literally, right? Or even just content in general. Like, I'm just playing a game for the first time and people get so mad about it. Like, I'm not saying I'm playing it well or doing anything amazing. I'm just playing it however I want. Sure, I might make mistakes and I might do things suboptimally, but so what? That's part of the point and part of the fun of doing something for the first time. But no, it's like, I did a title for a chess video, like, I made a joke on the Street Fighter line, like, what was it? You came here to fight a madman, but instead you found a god. So I did, you came here to play a king, but instead you found a god. And then people are disliking it and getting mad, like, I mean that literally. Obviously I suck, I say that all the time, but I'm just saying it for the fun of it, like, or give your minions, oh shit, this one is a different one that I didn't even see in looking through this. Yet people would take that seriously, like, sir, this is a Street Fighter quote meme from a shitty movie that's so bad it's good. That movie does have a lot of good quotes. Like, people love the one, for you it was the most important day of your life. For me it was Tuesday. Everybody loves that one. Or there's a couple good lines in there. There's a scene that's kind of like that one, Can't We All Just Get Along, where he's giving a speech, Bison. I've never even seen the movie, but I've seen all these crazy quotes from it. Give your other minions +1/+1. See, all these things still make it work. No, but that's shitty. That's really shitty. It would still fit into the whole vibe of this, but let me disenchant maybe the epic cards. You make a little more room, and what we're gonna need is the evasive thing here. Elusive, evasive, whatever the fuck you want to call it, because we don't really have the ability to do this otherwise. We're gonna decimate these decks that were not really all that interesting to me, but they were very low cost and cheap to make, just for the sake of whatever, like 4,000 dust legend caliber decks that I didn't actually use to do that. But or that's when I failed my whole Death Knight completionist thing. Right, I had to collect like every Death Knight hero, which is why I have so many of them, and a lot of them you just had to buy anyway. So what a hard challenge to spend real money to buy a cosmetic. But basically the idea is that because I failed that, I had to disenchant my whole collection. So then I was salty. To whatever amount of dust I had left, I was just like, fuck it, I'll just make like actual optimal decks with it for once. Actually make good use of the dust, basically. There's only one new one. Let's see. Use any minion, throw a minion from your hand. Added. Very fun mechanic there. So we're not actually going to have enough still, I don't think. What was the one that I just made? I think a 7 cost one. This one. Yeah, let's just look at the main star of the show here. Such a good effect that it doesn't even have a name. We're not gonna have Sogoth. I mean, obviously they all have to be the neutral ones here. Fairy Dragon, the ultimate OG classic. Your minions have that one. I'm not a big fan of the ones that rely on other ones. Like, these are the ones that it's all about, even though they're still shitty value by whatever standard you might have. Of course, the real way you might say to do this is to like have something really strong and combine it with this or something. You know, something that isn't naturally evasive but just has a good effect or something. But lifesteal, so this is one that I'm not familiar with. That, oh, it makes sense. This is from the most recent expansion. Divine Shield, Taunt, lifesteal can't be targeted by spell or hero power. Not really that good though. I mean, it's just a two. Even they're still cucking me with the shitty value for liking this mechanic so much. At least most of them weren't that expensive to make. You're really trying to tell me I have to go into this with no Sogoth though? Are you fucking kidding me? Yeah, this works pretty well with Lorthamar too. There's no way, bro. Wow, I might actually have to just do it. Partly because I don't have the patience to even do this shit all day. Let's just actually play a couple games. So all we're going to do is we're going to put the can't be targeted and all the buff stuff together. So now where is the... Oh, whoops, I did that. We need that 2 cost thing too. Just so that it's able to do the same thing, +1/+1, even though it's not very good. I forgot what it is. Okay, we have that. Then Biggin is fun, so we're missing Kaliseth, we're missing so many things, even though we're in my old gimmick deck, never mind anything new, although some of these things are new. Kaliseth we need, we also need the fucking, what's the thing? We need Kaliseth, Malfurion, the thing we were just looking at, which I forgot the name of, Sogoth. And this one thing that was really annoying before all these armor cards came out, that was like, you would gain armor in so many different ways with no other purpose to the deck. It wasn't like a control deck, it was just an annoying armor gain deck. Like, it was very stupid, but it could just really piss people off. Okay, don't care about that, don't care about that. And we'll do 2 of these just for the same +1/+1 AoE effect. What else do we have? Next spell you cast a turn cast twice. That might actually be worth it for the sake of making some of these buffs even better, but... Or I should say making them actually decent from being completely garbage in the first place. It's like some of these cards you would question, like, why does this card even exist in the game, or who would ever... That can be a good finisher because you get them to stick and just... Even this seems to make a certain amount of sense, but I'll only put 1 of them in there. Right, some of these just as like last resort type of things because of how shitty this is probably going to go. I don't even feel the need to do a swipe, but we'll see. Some of these old cards that they change the values of so much to try to keep them relevant doesn't really even make sense, but Overflow is kind of okay. You probably don't need 2 of them though. You definitely want... Yeah, see, some of these I'm not even really going to be able to have 2 of. Nor would it be worth it. You want Lorthamar, but then the whole point of this is I fucked up too, because... What you want is... I don't remember having a gold one of that actually before. How did I get that? It must have been from the reward track or something. But no, it's like... This is already fucked up because I can't even put the elusive things in here now. Not that there's really that many. Or what, am I going to have to do like Renathal or something? The point is you got to at least have 2 of each of these. This is the whole fucking point of the deck, despite how bad it might be. They got to get rid of some of the buff things. I guess I can only have like 1 of each buff. And we have it in part, maybe only because of the novelty of it here. That's at least one cool new addition to it. The 44, even with Renathal, this still wouldn't be enough. Let's get rid of some of the buffs. Okay, in Biggin, I'm happy with keeping both. And then most of the other ones, I guess I can get rid of a little bit. That one's... Oh, and this they even made 3 costs from 4. As much of a novelty gimmick sort of thing as this is... I don't really think I can afford to have... Wow, this is actually stupid, though. Not only would I have to do that, I would have to actually do like 1 of only each minion, too, which is dumb. I don't even want to do it like that. Right, so now I'd have to... Fuck. I'd have to take on one of each of these, which is so stupid. What's the fun in that? Okay, 30 card deck. We do have a lot of, I mean, we have the buffs in theory for the same effect. And really, we're doing this one just to clown the other cards. Like, would you rather have +2/+2, or would you rather have +2/+2 plus a 5/8? With the flexibility to do something else, or even the synergy of doing both together the way that some of these can. We had to sacrifice both getting rid of the double of each minion, but also some of the spells too. Like, this is a great finisher card. Could you just get some of the evasive things to stick? Like, you have 3 or 4 of them on there and they can't get rid of them right away, and then you just finish them off with this, or obviously you keep buffing them up. The adapt one can be really good for that. This is kind of fun. It still mirrors what we have, but I should almost like make a note. I'll just make like some blank deck and just write in the name. Or, you know, you should be able to almost add them as like a wish list. Like, can I put Kaliseth in here even if I don't have him? I don't feel like you can, but let me just do it here so I remember it. Kaliseth and Sogoth, and I can't even remember, but those are at least some of them. But yeah, I do think we have every shitty buff card that we want in here. What is this? Try out these decks and choose one to keep after time expires. What kind of a fucking format is that? Or, oh no, that's not even the thing. Different expansions. How wonderful would it be if I could use that?
Only for wild games.
No legendaries, don't promise. Assemble the best that you can. Only commons from all expansions. I guess we can try that some other time. Let me just do this. Of course, we only have the month in which to do it, though. This one has been a long time since I played it, and most notably,
My dreaming ends. Your nightmare begins.
what kind of fucking voice is this, bro? His voice is almost as bad as my deck. It's not the Cthulhu I wanted, dude. Not my Cthulhu. Hashtag. What the fuck? It looks badass, though. What is all this, dude? It's one thing if... Wait, what? How do you take over the board like that? It's one thing to have it be a cool portrait, but it's actually taking up too much space. It's taking over my whole board. I wonder if your opponent can see that, too. I've maybe never seen this guy, actually, before, but he is pretty badass. Like... this guy, like, I don't know who he is, Cthulhu, but I've never seen this portrait, I don't think, on the other side. But no, it most notably is just, it finally gives me a chance to use this evasive stuff again, because the other one I do that with this mage, but we'll save that for some other time here. I mean, we may as well just buff him. Yeah, that makes perfect sense for a druid to attack like that. Just shoot a fucking laser beam out of their eyeball. I mean, this has got to be one of the coolest ones, though, ever. Because it makes so much sense, too, that it would just show the eye there. Man, if only they didn't fuck up the voice so much. Yeah, let's see how cool this is going to be. Because priests rely on removal a lot. Hard removal. They're not going to be able to do anything about it, or they're going to have some modern power creep cards that just make a mockery out of it. But look how fun and satisfying this can be if they can't do anything about it. I don't feel like Divine Shield is going to matter, because what they're going to do isn't going to do damage. It'll just do a hard fixed amount of removal, right? It'll just be a... whatever, I don't even know what it's gonna be. Remember the good old days when a 4-attack minion was enough sometimes to cuck a priest because they didn't have any way to get rid of it? And Bigin can often be bad as well because it just makes everything cost more in a situation where I'm already struggling to play whatever shitty things I have. Is more meaningful to I'd rather lose my way than win in some meta way, in the sense that, like, you could be playing a bronze rank whatever 10 and all this kind of shit, and it's still more fun to do this because you know that what you're using isn't very good, so it makes it equally fun and competitive and meaningful when you win or whatever. because you're using garbage against garbage, so it evens out. The means argument that I always have to try to explain to people in a lot of context. We did put Lorthamar in here, which is a pretty good, fun one to have. And the reason why is because it helps to complement these as well if you can, you know, buff your whole deck in a very easy way. I mean, show me a deck where Lorthamar isn't good. There's almost none, just maybe something with no minions like that stupid Death Knight one, Demon Hunter one that we had with the scythe and stuff.
I am manaless.
For a master tactician, this is nothing.
So we got off to actually a pretty good start, surprisingly. Now it might start to slow down where they can heal themselves too much or whatever. Now they're going to have a removable card waiting for that guy, because obviously it's the only thing in here that we had something notable that wasn't like that I always used to say that about. Like, we know they're going to use the removal on such and such because, oh, maybe it was like the Trogs in my mage deck, that I would have only evasive minions, and then the one that I wouldn't have would be something like the Trog that still punishes them for using spells. Or you know what I forgot also is Lothab. Holy shit, this is the most fragmented thing ever. You know, look at what we get here. This is like a Yu-Gi-Oh-esque moment where, you know, it's just not a real value that you're gonna see. It's a 7 mana 18/18 that also can't be targeted. So what the fuck do you do about it? And genuinely, there might not be much you can do about it.
I didn't intentionally pursue leadership, but I find it quite suits me.
But we get power creep, fun interactions. Thumbs up, Blizzard. Fucking retard game. Why do I have to always deal with this shit, bro? We almost still could have just killed you if we just... We could have almost just still killed you if we just, if you didn't have the one taunt there. Isn't that dumb? Like, what did he even do? I don't even know what that was. Just fill your board with everything under the sun, and it's fun and interactive.
I am all possibilities. Fly! Make true towards up there!
So you would still have to trade in, or actually you wouldn't, because the 10-6 is going to kill it for you. And of course you have to realize with this deck that you're not going, even his damage animation is cool. Everything is cool about him except for his voice. The appearance, the animations, the tentacles, the everything. The lore behind him obviously we all love. 5 treants.
Your courage will fail.
Yeah, what were they thinking with the voice? Either it has to be lower. Oh, even that's kind of cool, going out with a bang there with the laser. But no, it's like, I guess we can't do like a little permadeath alternate condition because we don't have another deck really to play as right now. But no, it's like his appearance, his animations, everything's cool, but the voice, what did they do with the voice, man? Well, what is the voice of regular Cthulhu? I feel like they got that one right on the card. I can't check it now, but like when you play the normal card that does the fucking whole synergy that I was mocking earlier. The most insular synergies ever.
My dreaming ends. Your nightmare begins.
We have Cthulhu at home. Cthulhu at home. Why did they do this, bro?
I see you've brought guests. Yeah, I will wake.
Oh, they even adapt his lines for different holidays and stuff. Interesting. Like Happy Hollow's End. I wonder what he would say for that. I am the... How do you like my costume? Haha. I'm dressed as the Beholder. Whatever it's called. Like the big eyeball type enemy in certain RPGs. Yeah, whatever. At least you have a general plan here, but I don't have enough dust to even do the very vague, shitty, suboptimal stuff I'm trying to do in the first place. Just to recreate what I was doing, not even to really do anything new with it. This is where Embiggen would be kind of so shitty too, because like I can barely afford to play what I have in the first place. But you still saw some of the fun value of it, right? Some of those things were buffed up pretty high. It was like an 18-18 taunt. I would have won if he didn't summon a taunt there. So despite whatever bullshit interaction we saw later, it was still fun what we got to see from it. We got to see Lord Thamar. That was not a very impactful play. Almost seems like we must be playing against a bot. But yeah, with these decks, you don't really have that much variety in the elusive minions because there's only so many in the game. Like, we have all of them. The only real notable variety would be the class-specific ones, of which there aren't that many either. So, and the only two classes we really have enjoyed doing this on are both Mage and Druid. Mage because we get like Counterspell, and maybe that's the main reason only why I did that. We get Counterspell and we get a couple Mage-specific minions that make it worth it. And then for Druids, you get all these AoE buffs. So that was the impetus of why we really focused on it on those two classes. I would say the Trogs, but the Trogs aren't even class specific.
Your nightmare begins.
Those tentacles are really obnoxious, though. They're a bit too much.
I see you've brought guests.
I mean, this one I'd have to say I don't feel even that bad. The Sylvanas one was decent, but this is like top tier. This is about as cool of a cosmetic as you can get. And it's very organic to, you know, how he would look. I just gotta redub it with my old school ASMR voice. I am the quiet gamer after all, that even my whispery voice would be more suited to this guy than the shitty one. Because see, that's the trick of it. He wasn't trying to be scary. He was just either in a weakened state, or he was just using that sort of whispery vibe that might be naturally what he's like. Where he's kind of whispering it into your subconscious without you really even realizing, like a subliminal sort of thing. This is a very bad start, despite the hard commit to the evasive minions. We just don't have any. So this is maybe my first time playing the Stone Drake, which at least I'm happy that there is one, but there really haven't been too many overall. We could test it with the coin, although unfortunately we don't have anything to play, even if the coin works there. Very dramatic effect on the, almost reminds me of Golma's eye a little bit in Ocarina of Time, just when he takes damage.
I see, but I do not believe.
Wow, I cannot believe what kind of shitty hand I got here though this game. When it goes at this pace, then you have nothing going on whatsoever. I must say this mechanic is much more fun in Magic for the sake of there's a lot more hexproof minions to work with, and I mean it still has a certain novelty to it because nobody really commits to them as hard as just like using that as all you have in your deck. But also you can buff them without having to do all this, although this is part of why I like this idea, is that you're kind of going out of your way to make it quote-unquote better than what it is. Yeah, I should have played around that. Oh wait, I don't have another fucking minion though, so I can't. And the big glaring omission is Sogoth, because you can't really do this deck without that.
Gift of the arcane enlightens us. Our gift of frost shields us.
I see your strength.
He really sounds like he's putting it on. Like he's trying to roleplay as Cthulhu, but he's just not. I don't know how to explain it.
Our gift of fire empowers us.
Yeah, let's do one more just for the fuck of it. And we had that one guy resign, but we had the fun interaction against the priest. So let's just see if we can. That one was kind of unfair. The first matchup was good. We were getting off to a good lead. We almost had lethal even. And it didn't seem like he would have been able to prevent it if he just didn't have the taunts there. So that was always a good game. Then one guy resigns. This game was completely one-sided in the other direction.
Cthulhu versus Garona. I'll leave no trace of this.
My dreaming ends. Your nightmare begins.
Yeah, that is very fun, but are we going to get to the point where we can actually play it is the big question. I almost would rather have him have been like a 9 cost, even for the same 12/12. And I mean, the taunt's almost superfluous because that's not really why you're playing him, but just, I get it. Like, yeah, who needs fucking Soul God then? For 1 mana less, but still, I would do it just because you want as many of these as possible. Yeah, what cosmetics have I shown off in doing this? I showed off N'Zoth for the Warlock. I showed off like Magni for the Warrior. All these ones that I must have spent money on at some point over the course in the history of this game. Yeah, let's make this stuff even harder to summon that we're struggling to get here. But no, we would get... Who else? We showed off Sylvanas for those two. Obviously, the Death Knights, I have a whole bunch of cosmetics, but I wasn't really doing too much for that. Now we're doing Cthulhu. I think most of the other classes aren't going to have too many sexy ones, though, that I have. Yeah, it does almost make you want to play as a class just for that reason, especially when you're using it for the first time. The psychology of cosmetics make me feel like I'm actually getting good value out of the $25 or whatever that I wasted on one of these fucking cosmetics. Not unlike the same way that if you subscribe to an MMO for like a month, you feel like... Okay, these last 2 games have been unlucky, though, to be fair. It doesn't mean that it's this hard to get a minion out of these decks. Like, I do have a good amount in there. I have every single one in the game that you can possibly use as a druid, except for Sogoth.
Hey, you! Install these for me, won't you?
That card was in the meta for a while there. And I guess it still would be. I don't know what they nerfed. They just made him a 4/4 instead of a 5/4. Hey, how's it going? Those are going to be the best that I actually have here, though, than just not getting any minions. How will he ever deal with that? This must be like how he sounds in maybe some other version if they brought him back later in the game. Because I can't imagine they would do that otherwise. But I don't know what version of Malygos would ever sound like that clown one that they put in this game. One of my favorite characters from the Warcraft universe, and somebody who's very misunderstood and actually not that bad of a guy. Malygos did nothing wrong. He's constantly saying how mortals can't handle magic and they shouldn't use it. Also, mortals with magic summon Sargeras and do all kinds of other crazy shit. None of it which is really beneficial. Somehow Dalaran returned, though. They saved that in some Deus Ex Machina bullshit. So this is the whole problem with it, is that we're never going to get to the chance where we can actually play anything here. Oh yeah, even has lines to do with stuff like that. I guess he'd probably say that with anything to do with the treant.
The time has come to dethrone our former master.
Why do you keep changing your username? Or it's just like a different account?
Who knows what secrets will uncover?
I like Nightmare better.
Your card burns.
Actually fitting considering we're playing as Cthulhu, where he said that. This is even worse than I would have thought. Five Nights at Freddy's reference, haha. Anytime you see that. Okay, this will be fine. Come on, why do these games always have to start off so shitty though? Just let me have like a decent curve where I can summon these. And sure, they might just be able to beat them on the board. It wouldn't be a big accomplishment, but you know, at least make them have to do that. And if they rely on removal, then they'll be kind of screwed. And the only thing they can use traditional removal on, I think, is probably Lorthamar. Okay, now at least it should start to get a little bit better. Or yeah, even that counts towards the treant thing, but that wasn't really the intent behind it. Have like 7 things out there for Soul of the Forest, and it'll actually be good value.
I see your card.
Short on time.
Your card? Shouldn't it be my card burns? Or it's like he's just corrupting me and laughing at my struggles here.
Your card burns.
Even that, like he's saying in like some sort of pseudo comical way, you shouldn't be treating an old god like that. I can't remember if I took issue with Nazant the same way. I don't really remember actually. But that's the one that I looked forward to for so long. So I have 2 old gods. We need like a Yogg Saron one. What class would Yogg be considered? Probably something weird like a priest, because he mind controls you. It's always something kind of out of left field that you wouldn't associate. I would never think of Cthulhu as a druid. Like, I don't know what I would think of him as, but it's kind of hard to put the old gods into a class. But yeah, that's one of the few ways, is a minion effect, but again, historically there haven't been that many minion effects like that that either do damage or just destroy something outright. We might actually get to play Tyrantus here, but clearly their value is pretty good.
Short on time.
The whole good thing with that is you could certainly have buffed it up to like if you had done Lorthamar 2, you would have gotten it to a fucking 820, which is actually pretty decent. Also putting Sogot to shame. But yeah, you only have so many of these, so you almost do feel pressured. Or just for the pure variety of it, I would put like 1 of each in there just for the sake of it, not because you really want them. Like that 4 mana 2/5 taunt is garbage. When would that statting ever be good in today's day and age? Again, a lot of these things weren't even good many years ago when I used them. That could actually be really good if you do get a couple of things out there. In so many games you do win because of Savage Roar, because they just simply can't deal with your board. You didn't even need to mill me out though. You were gonna win on the board anyway.
Short on time.
Oh shit, he's the elitist victim blaming me, one of my many nicknames. It's my fault that I lost. You're actually true. But it was over. It was over at the very outset of my making the deck in the first place. Okay, I'll do one more just out of respect for the fact that that one went so shitty. Come on, just end your turn and let the fatigue do it.
You impress me.
I see your
Yeah, his voice was the ultimate anticlimax because I've never seen him on the other side, at least I don't think, and I've never heard these lines. Yeah, let's hear what the Cthulhu actual card sounds like to compare it to that, because I feel like that one was maybe closer to what I'm thinking of. Even Mech Cthulhu is probably better. Or wait, you can't actually hear it here. You have to actually craft it to do it. I feel like that one's actually much better though. Like they can't afford to pay the same voice actor, but at least go for the same style. Like, can I get like a normal game where I just get like a proper curve, where I just get like the fairy dragon into the mech 4 mana 2/5 and just go on a normal curve like that, because that's all I want.
Gul'dan versus Morgul.
My dreaming ends. Your nightmare begins.
Why is it so hard for me to just get anything? Yeah, I shouldn't even do Embiggen yet because it's gonna be a fucking waste. I mean, even double Embiggen is sexy, but again, you're not gonna be able to play anything unless I had like a 2 and a 4 in here. Then I'd be willing to wait it out.
With the new year, I will wait.
That is pretty unbelievable that they took the time. They can't get Renounced Darkness to work in their shitty format, but they can get this to work. Now you combine that with Lorthamar, and that can actually be pretty sexy, but it'll take too long. Or you would already have to have Lorthamar in your hand, because now he'll cost like 9, and that'll be way too slow. And I mean, of course, I'm doing that just for board presence, but it doesn't really suit with the evasive commitment here, because obviously I'm not using that as a buff. So, I mean, you just kind of have to bide your time here, so hopefully I get some low-cost stuff again. If this goes exactly right, it could be very fun and very rewarding, but I don't think that's going to happen. See, that's kind of irrelevant too. It's a 10 mana 18/18 versus 14/14. That doesn't make a big difference. For some of this low to mid cost stuff, it can be a big deal. Like, even that's not bad, but... And again, he's not going to be able to remove it any other way, so how many of these fucking Murlocs is he going to have to throw at it? Yeah, that's what they copied it from, supposedly from Magic, is the Merfolk, but I almost can't imagine that because I thought Murlocs were part of the Warcraft universe from so long ago that it almost doesn't make sense that they would have copied it from there. Why would an RPG series like that copy it from Magic? It's just more like a general RPG trope, like Nagas are just, you know, it's just like a type of thing. And certainly it's become like sort of their mascot almost of the series, sort of, where it's this cutesy kind of thing that would appeal to people who don't even know what the Warcraft universe is or are filthy casuals about it. Murlocs are the Taylor Swift of the Warcraft universe, I guess you could say, where people watch the Super Bowl for the ads or for Taylor Swift, not for the fucking... not for the game itself. Okay, that was at least more respectable curve. I kind of want to do one more still. We'll be up all night though doing this if we try to wait for... I'm not even waiting for a win, although I technically won because that one guy resigned. I'm just waiting for the game to go actual in a proper way. It feels like maybe I do have too many spells in here and not enough minions. Okay, last one for sure, no matter what. Yeah, this was the main gimmick sort of theme deck that I ever used as a druid. And so I can't really think of too many other ones that I did use. I kind of want to fuck around with jungle giants for a little bit, but it wouldn't be even worth it now. Right, there's so many better things you could do. This is at least unique.
Let me sing you a song.
My dreaming ends. Your nightmare.
I don't even bother keeping the buff, and the 4 cost is worth it because there's not really that many 2 costs or lower. There's only 4 2 costs. There's 0 3 costs, and there's there's a whole bunch of 4 costs. You kind of miss out on 3 and 5, right? There really aren't any that fit into that. I just love how they never bothered to give it a name either. They can add the undead tag, they can add the naga tag, they can adjust all these different things, but this one will always just be a mouthful here. And you just call it elusive or evasive because some of the minions are called that, but I guess you could just call it Fade too because it's like based on the fairy dragons. Why does it say it like that? I don't know if that's a bug or it's supposed to be some sort of inside joke somehow.
This track is almost over.
Okay, just let me try to get a decent curve here. So you just have a turn 3 and turn 4 play. You do have Lorthamar coming up. Or yeah, you do have a 5.
I'm impressed.
How could I have forgotten about it? Yeah, see, that's the whole reason why Death Knight should have had a ton of evasive cards, just because this was the one that was in there for a long time. From basically the beginning of the game.
I don't take requests.
So that was still way too slow of a start, but now it could be decent if he can't deal with these, and if I could buff them. But the act of buffing them was also very fucking slow. It's just not going to be good. It almost would be better if you could have done this in a twist mode. Or maybe I can. Maybe I can do this in the sense of I can take out whatever few legendaries I have, which are not even really that good. And maybe I'll try that next time. So I'll make a twist mode with still the elusive evasive idea. Right, that's the only good thing about twist is what it restricts you from using. As far as way too much meta shit, which they'll still be able to do that, but they won't. What? I don't know, it won't be quite the same anyway. At least this went decently in terms of the curve, but he's dealing with my shit way too easily.
Anybody?
And I like how I'm benefiting from some of these changes that they made too, like, you know, oh, Tyrantus is a little better, and this is actually 3 costs instead of 4. Like, it does help, but it's kind of weird that that's even a thing. Yeah, you can't be targeted by spells or hero powers. That's really nice. And this guy always nicknamed the Name Dropper because he mentions both Kel'Thuzad and the Witch King like he knows them personally. You're just some random rank and file fucking knight, dude. Don't get too full of yourself.
The time reveals Azeroth's potential. Heroes that champion order.
Yeah, they did add that cool mage spell that summons like the 2 whatever, those things from Magic's Terrace or something. the two things that are also immune to spells. But that still doesn't technically count as a minion overall in that.
Your feeble magic.
This is good just to kind of slow the pace down a bit, but leaving a Titan around for that long is kind of suicide.
The time waves reveal Azeroth's potential.
But if you did do this, then... oh, shit.
Harmony.
Yeah, oddly enough, that might actually work, assuming you could use all of these except for... well, you know, most of them are not legendaries anyway. And all the spells are not, obviously, either. Okay, dude, we gotta just hurry up.
Pick me! Pick me!
This church is almost open.
Oh, what a mistake, though, because now you're gonna allow me to do this.
They grow up so fast. Dispelled. Dispelled.
It still doesn't matter, though. His value is just infinite with this fucking shit. You almost shouldn't be allowed to have two of these at once.
Blessing, I will find the truth.
Together in harmony.
I like how you don't get to interact with any of the Titans or anything in lore either. Like, as soon as you see them, they're already dead, and like ghosts or whatever, like fucking, or you hear about them all the time, and then you finally see some reference to them in Legion or whatever, and it's like, oh, it's just, they're already been killed by Sargeras, so you'll never get to see them, because like they would have been too powerful otherwise, but somehow he was just able to kill all of them.
This church is almost open.
It would be the same thing as like a Deathwing problem. Like, he's just too big for you to even fight his ass. So he just sticks his sword in Silithus and you just seal him away with some other stupid shit. Like, you can't really fight Sargeras in a normal raid boss sort of context. You'd have to like become Titans yourself, I guess, to do it. Still don't think I'm dead. I should 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. But the thing is, I don't really have any long-term value or recourse against it. So this dude's just gonna waste my time.
Take requests.
My request is for you to hurry the fuck up. Otherwise, I quit out. So it doesn't matter whether you take it or not. But yeah, let's see if we'd be able to do that. Like, what if I just copy? I won't even play one, or maybe I will actually. But if you just take out the legendaries, I don't have too many, and we're even missing one, would I just be able to use this in the twist mode? Of course, people are still going to be metagaming the shit out of it, but it's okay. Or is it supposed to be just like only common stuff too? Now we could just do the can't be targeted stuff again. So basically just put a little extra of each of these in there. Or you know, I don't know. The early game is kind of important. So we'll do it like that. Now let's see if that's actually playable in the twist mode. That would be good enough, right? But it's going to restrict even my ability to use those, I bet.
That deck is only for wild games.
Best deck you can using only commons. What the fuck? Good thing most of these are commons, I guess. Wait, those are epic. Wait, that's common, 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 common. You'd be surprised how actually this is going to work. Imagine if this is actually something that people are using. Like, wow, this is one of the best decks you can make with... Fuck. Yeah, that's an advantage of using something so shitty, is that it's actually, yeah, even that's somehow common. The only sad part is you'd only be able to do this for the month, so it's not going to, you know, it's not going to actually be that fun for long term. So let's just double up each of the ones we have here, most of which we want to do the minions actually. That's good. Twin spell, more like quad spell now, since you have two of them, huh? That's not even really worth it. In fact, yeah, this isn't the way I want to do it because, fuck. I mostly want to do the minions, or maybe this will still be fine though because, let's see. Be targeted. Okay, you can't do that. You can do that, you can do that, you can do that, you can do that. Because we have 4 left, let's just find the ones that are actually going to be the buffs. And obviously skew towards the more low-cost stuff. So we got this. We got a couple of the other ones in there already. Or I think that one's a normal card too. The 7 cost heal. Then maybe you should make a point to try to do that. Poison seeds. Even this comically is fine too. I'm not even gonna bother with poison seeds actually, right? Somehow. Oh no, that's not actually. Yeah, you can put together actually a decent version of this only because, you know, it's not good to begin with, so of course. Give your minions +2/+2, give your minions +2/+2 and taunt. Like, it's just obviously objectively better. Or wait, no, we still need more. Yeah, I guess that should be fine because we have 2 copies of everything else. So assuming we can use this in the twist mode, let me actually play one. Wait, what?
Only for wild games.
What? Wait a second. Why don't you show me what's valid in it or not? I guess I'd have to go in here and then do it. Oh, fuck off, bro. Like, this is what I love, too. These aren't even good cards in the first place, so what do you want from me? Yeah, I can't use Pride's Fury, because that would just be way too strong. At least that one I can understand, because it's whatever. That one's like, okay, do I even have enough stuff to fit in here now? I guess this could be fine. And Poison Seeds, maybe. The goop guy again. We need 7 more though. That's so lame, man. There aren't even enough of these to fit in the game then. I guess I'll just do some basic removal stuff. Totally goes against the whole theme of it too, but I guess I don't know what to make of it. So dumb. Like, you can't, no fun allowed. You can't even let me make a shitty suboptimal deck. You cannot even let me have that much. Yeah, thankfully a lot of the evasive ones and even the buffs are not higher rarities, even some of them which are decent. Like the Draconid is a good card. 7 mana, 7/7 can't be targeted with taunt. Like, that's not bad.
Cthulhu versus Garrosh.
My dreaming ends. Your nightmare begins.
The least you would expect. Oh, he's using something probably suboptimal and trash, which is kind of fun if that's the case, but we can't guarantee that. They'll still be metagaming the shit out of it, which is to be expected, but... Okay, this is the last game for sure, though.
I see, but I do not believe.
Yeah, see, some of these modes are so fun. They should keep this available to play all the time, but no, they have to rotate it like clowns, and they won't let you play. Like, why not just have all these twist modes be available all the time? And you might say, oh, it splits the community, but it would only split it to the extent that people actually want to play those modes, so it's just a net positive.
Something up.
It's like if you could mod it, you could do that, where you just put in any kind of modes that you want at any time. Like a custom rule format type of thing, and then you could search for a match or host a match, right, with whatever criteria you want, and then only if somebody joins or wants to queue up for that would they be there. So it's okay if you don't find a match. At least give people the option, you know? This is fine, just hurry up. This at least let me play through the curve a little bit more, I guess. This will be good at least because it discourages them from summoning anything big. We'd be able to get rid of it guaranteed. Now we have a 4 and a 5 play. That's a pretty big commit for just a dinky fairy dragon. Yeah, he's got a lot of armor. And there should be only so much you can do with these neutral cards, but I do like what I'm gonna probably be able to do here. He's just not going to have an answer for them, or he's gonna have some kind of weapons, Arcanite Reaper type shit. You still don't have persistent value, they're just kind of harder to get rid of. So I hope I get something a little lower cost so I can do this, and then that'll be enough to kill it and survive. Otherwise it feels like a waste to do it. Or that makes it kind of worth it as well. He's very defensive minded, but that heal at least kind of goes to waste there. Now we get the Spectral Knight, we can do the Mark of the Lotus. Like it becomes very difficult for him to keep up with what I'm doing here, I guess. So only in a format like this would this deck seem even remotely okay, and even then it's not good, but... again, you might think that the buff is a waste, but there's no other point where it's going to be good anyway. You can play on curve in a very methodical fashion here, because that's the whole point of the deck, is just to have good value plays, period. Doesn't work as well if they just have a lot of stuff to summon onto the board, period, because then it ends up being, you know, they'll just trade in with basic value things and play on the board. But that's the whole dream come true for me anyway, is just to force them to play on the board, and that's good enough for me. So you do both of these together, it gives them too much of an easy target for removal though that way. Okay, so I actually win one and I actually get to play this kind of the way it's meant to be played. This is almost simulating what it was like when I used it back in the day, but even then I would get destroyed by metagaming tryhards, or maybe he does have some sort of other win condition. But that's the kind of thing you won't get from these sort of low rarity cards. I'd love to see him deal with this, because you don't have Brawl, because that's epic, or you don't have anything, so this is the best. Like, imagine this. Oh, haha, you must be using that meta hexproof elusive evasive deck that everybody's using, because this mechanic might actually be decent here, but It's what I was doing anyway, and what I've done for years. You can hit it with both of these and neither one will die. It'll get kind of both of them low, but I don't know how much he's going to have here. He already wasted one of his precious whirlwinds. You're not going to have brawl, so you can't do shit. Like, what normal card would allow you to even do anything here? This is the whole beauty of it, is that it's like when it seems like you're winning, you're actually winning, instead of, oh, they always have some bullshit to pull out of their ass. There's going to be power creep, and they have an answer to every situation imaginable under the sun. Come on, let's end off on a good note. Here is probably playing against a bot anyway, because who would be playing this mode in the first place?
I see your strength.
That little goop guy who creates copies of stuff is really strong too. Considering the fact that he's normal, you could just double it up. This actually looks kind of good in the context of this mode, although you can't judge it by this little ring, but at least it feels better than what it would. See, I like how I do this. I was planning to play Druid and this exact deck anyway, but because of the fact that the twist mode does sort of align with this a little bit, it's amazing how that worked. Like, I was able to play Renounced Darkness when I wanted to, but it also worked out in the twist mode too, or I was able to play Zinazari and Explore Angora, at least I think. And so a lot of these kind of line up with the twist mode anyway. Okay, see you tomorrow.